you're on. Yeah, this 5 a.m., man, I'll tell you, you got to do something about it.
So for all of the people that are watching right now, it's like November 11th, so it's Veterans Day actually. And Chris had a little special Veterans Day row down here. We all of us came down, and we got 3 8s out there, and we rode around the Charles. But it's really cold out today. It was funny because we were out here yesterday, and it was beautiful, 60 degrees. But today it's like
40.
Not even. It's like 39.
Yeah.
It's like, so I'm out here in my shorts, and I was like, I was expecting 60 again, and now it's really cold. All right, so so we're down here. We'll talk a little bit about a little row I got coming up, I guess.
So Bryan surprised me about a month or so ago and told me he was going to row across the Atlantic Ocean, and I wasn't surprised.
You know what's really funny is how unsurprised people are when I tell them that I'm going to do something like this. They're like, "Oh, well, we expect that from you at this point."
So I see you definitely as a force, a physical force, and a mental presence, sort of a force. When you're here, you just bring a lot of energy with you. And I am just thrilled to have you in our program. And I talked to you a couple months ago about your leadership and all with the men and women in the boat. And I think you've just brought a lot to our program. I really appreciate that. And we have a lot of fun with you too. So how did this ever come into your brain that you wanted to row across the Atlantic Ocean?
Well, the idea came last year, roughly at this time. I had been laid off from a position, and I had some time on my hands, and I started rowing at a gym I was at, and I was like, wow, I'm pretty good at this. And so it's the kind of person I am. I would own a rowing machine, because if you're good at something, then you have to pursue it. So I was on this rowing machine like every day, like an hour or 2 hours a day, and I was like, oh, this is a lot of fun. And I found an indoor rowing competition. I thought, it's perfect. Indoor rowing, I love it. So I went, and it's called the Crash Bees, and it's a very, very competitive program. It essentially places rowers into schools and programs, and it sets a competitive level. And while I was there was actually a desk that had a sign for veteran rowers, and I'm like, I could row. It never even dawned on me that I could actually come down to the Charles River and row. And so I followed up with Chris about it. But to get back to your question, the reason I got into ocean rowing was I had some time off, and I was at that age where I was doing a little soul searching. I'm like, I'd love to have like one last big adventure. And I had heard about this couple of guys that had rowed across the Atlantic Ocean, and I thought, wow, that is really fascinating. And the pieces all sort of came together. I did this Crash Bees, and I got involved in the veteran program, and it allowed the idea of rowing across the ocean to become a reality. And I had reached out to some of the people that actually do this ocean row. There's a small community of people, like maybe 600-700 people. And I'd reached out to them saying, maybe I want to buy your boat in the future, because I thought maybe in 2 or 3 years I'd do like a solo row. And lo and behold, they called me in October and said, look, we have an extra seat. We're looking for an ocean rower. And I said, well, that's me. I can do that. And so I got involved with this gentleman named Simon Chalk, and he's the captain of this boat called the Titan. And it's a totally brand new boat. It's like super high tech. And he had 6 members of his crew, and he was looking for a 7th to round it out. And his sole purpose is, I want to break the record. I want to break the record across the Atlantic. And he's rowed it 5 times, so he's really very determined. And I approached Chris because being part of this program, and then potentially, in doing this ocean row, I thought there was a great opportunity here to help promote this program and then also do the row. And I talked to her about, maybe any publicity I could generate through doing this might bring some light back to the program. So as much as we have these great guys like Dallas, who's competing in the Olympics, I thought something like this would be like another way to bring the program to light. And it's such a great program, and I feel like there's so many veterans out in Massachusetts and the greater area that just don't even know about it. And so I'm trying to use this ocean row as a springboard to help the program.
So you did an ocean row in July in Gloucester, as I recall, it was 32 miles. How did you prepare for that?
Embarrassing.
Did you prepare for that?
I prepared 2 days for that. So I had never rowed solo before. I joined the program. It's these big boats like this. There's 8 boats, and you know, they're very stable boats because there's lots of oars in the water. When you have, you know, one rower, you know, you're in charge of all the stability in the water. So the boat tends to be very floppy and it rolls into the water very easily. So I had 2 days to prepare for this row, and the gentleman who helped me out with this row, his name's Gary Paleodosi. He actually builds boats, and he's like, look, I've got a very stable boat for you. It's very wide and very slow. You should be okay. So, you know, it was just essentially just grit. It was the only way I got through it. I came in like last. It was pretty bad, but it was great though.
How does that, preparing for that experience, compare for how you're going to prepare, compared to how you're going to prepare yourself to row across the Atlantic Ocean in February?
That's a good question. You know, I'm not sure that there's any way to really prepare. Most of the people who've done it one time, and probably will never do it again, and that probably be the situation for me. I personally prepare. I have my rowing machine at home. I try to row 3 hours a day on it. And as I get close to January, I'll try to get up to maybe 4 hours a day. That being said, you know, does that really prepare me for what it'll be like on the ocean? And it's hard to say. I'm hoping that mentally and physically I'm able to handle it. There's a technical aspect to the row which will be different than using these boats that I would row on the Charles, because the boat height is so much different. The structurally in the rowing pattern is so much different. I won't be able to build up the same kind of muscle memory here, because these boats sit right on the water. And this boat here, I'll be pretty elevated. It will actually have like a, you know, it will actually have a compartment underneath us. So I'm hoping that, you know, physically and mentally I'll be prepared for it. And Gary and a lot of the members of the of CRI staff have been so helpful, you know, training me, coaching me, preparing me, mentally preparing me, and they've been very supportive. And I'm hoping that I'll become an asset to this team. That's my real goal.
So I want to ask you about what. I'm going to just switch gears a little bit. What does being a veteran mean to you?
Well, it's, you know, it means something different to everybody, but in some sense, I think it means the same thing to every veteran. There's a sense of pride you get in being a veteran. It's almost like it's hard to describe. You know, like you say you did it, and you can really say you did it. You know, when I was in, it's such a strange experience being in the military. You're just so away from everything, and you build such great friends. I mean, God, I'm actually going to see one of my friends this weekend from the military. I haven't seen him in 15 years, and we're still like best friends. You know, you feel really good. You felt like you've served your country, and you feel a sense of pride about that, and it's a good feeling, you know. And Veterans Day for me personally, is a day to think about that. And every Veterans Day I try to do something veteran related. You know, today was our Veteran Row. Last year I visited the Constitution. You know, it's indescribable how it feels. You know, it's a good feeling, and I like that.
What do you think we need to be doing for our veterans?
Boy, you know, this country hasn't been great taking care of them. I would love to see our veterans get, you know, maybe not favored status, but some sort of status where you know, they get better job training and they get better opportunities with education. They get better opportunities for a variety of things. And it's not because they need a leg up, it's because they're a leg down. You know, so many of my friends have got out and they had no job skills, and they're older and they don't have the education because they learn something different. So it's hard to apply like building a foxhole to living in a cube farm, at work. And not everybody makes that transition, and it's when you come out of the military, you don't necessarily have a lot of friends. I mean, all your friends are back in the military, and the friends that you've had here, they've kind of moved on, it's hard to relate to them, their lives are about their families or their work, and it's like, it becomes a bridge now, you can't get across it, and some people, they don't manage to transition very well, and that's why I think veterans really need a little help to get started, to get jump started, because they come out and they're just like, I don't know what to do, and I think there's a certain aspect that it becomes depressing after a while.
So I really like how the veterans come here. I have the best job in the world. This is what I tell everybody.
That's true. She's the best.
I really do. My husband dies every morning when I go to work. But I like how the veterans get in the boat, and I like the camaraderie that they share. It is so obvious and it's so strong. But one of my personal goals, when you talk about a bridge, is to use CRI as a bridge for the veterans and connecting with the community. And I think CRI is a great place to start engineering that bridge, to bring people together like we did today on Veterans Day, where we had all of our community rowers rowing with our veterans. That was so powerful for me. How can we improve upon that?
Just get the word out more. I mean, she's absolutely right. I mean, CRI, in a lot of ways, is like a lifeline to people out they're coming out of the military. It's like you come out and you're disorganized, and this place, now you're organized. You have to be here at 5:30 in the morning. You have to learn how to row. There's other teammates depending on you. I mean, it's like the military, but outside the military, and you make great relationships here. I mean, it's a huge boathouse, and there's lots of people you can connect with, and you feel like you're part of the community again. And I can't tell you how big that is. You feel like you belong here. And CRI is I've only been with them for about a year, but I feel like it was a second home for me. I can just come by anytime I want. It's always available. It's always open. I mean, Lord knows, someone's here all the time. I don't think it ever closes. I don't think they even have locks on the door. Just the people here are just terrific. I mean, they really do. And it's just been great for my life.